While the world tries to solve the whole coronavirus situation, governments put in and cancel different measures trying to reduce the effects of the world pandemic. The gaming industry is standing in the shadows and silently cheering. You might think I am too cynical, but it is true. The majority of games nowadays are sold digitally, so quarantines do not affect the gaming industry much. People who are forced to sit at home are desperate for entertainment, and digital content, which obviously includes video games, is perfect for this. Even the development of games isn't affected as much as other industries. The vast majority of people in the gaming industry can easily do their job from home, and while they do need to discuss about what they do with their games, that can easily be done over a video call. Let's face the facts. The gaming industry is safe during the COVID-19 pandemic. That is why many gaming companies are actively participating in support for measures against it. Plus, we just got information about the PlayStation 5 and the new Xbox and how Epic is becoming a publisher. Even the big gaming events that would seemingly be affected, such as E3, are just going to be replaced with streams, and most people will not give a damn. So, while society at large might feel like we're coming to the next dark age, the gaming industry lives and evolves. Well, unless the internet and electricity shuts down. Everybody is sitting at home, watching their favorite movies and series, but otherwise doing nothing. Right? No. Surveys tell us that the reservations many gaming companies had against people working from their homes was a flawed position. There really hadn't been any big-name studios saying their games are going to be postponed. The opposite seems to be the case. The majority of gaming studios say how they move their employees home, including the hardware, to allow them to continue working. And it seems to be working. When and if it will work like this for a few months, maybe then things will be different. But so far, everyone seems to be figuring out that they really do not need to be in their offices. Maybe it isn't fair. Other industries are certainly suffering, but some industries just seem to be better suited for a global pandemic. Obviously, not everything is just rosy. We already mentioned the cancelled conventions and conferences, and that is sad. Personal contact is the best, especially when it comes to making contacts among developers, marketers, publishers, and the public. But even then, the current situation is only forcing the gaming industry to figure out new ways and formats that will make it evolve further. For example, many of the big guys in the industry are now planning to do big streams such as Nintendo does with its Direct. And yes, these things have been common for years now, but now they will become mainstream, and not only for the public, but even for press who will have to do with just digital access to the news. This could potentially change the gaming media towards even small YouTubers and streamers having more of an impact, as now they do not have to compete against the big guys who have the added benefit of having people on site, people who can provide direct interviews with the developers, publishers, etc., etc. We will have to wait and see whether it will impact the gaming media, and if it will, then how much. Sony and Microsoft finally announced the specs for their upcoming consoles, the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X. Both companies decided to go for the same type of CPU, the AMD Zen 2, and for the same type of GPU, AMD R&D A2, just different clocks and slightly different architectures. But both companies claim their solutions are custom made for their needs. But even then, a similar type of RAM and disks are used, just the sizes are different here. It almost feels like someone at AMD managed to sell the same thing to both of them and now is getting a huge bonus. But let's stop with the teasing. Yes, both the new Xbox and the new PlayStation are coming this year. But something is very different compared to previous new console generations. Previously, whenever a new console generation came out, it was a true game changer. But because both Sony and Microsoft decided to adopt the x86 architecture, this is no longer the case. So instead of a revolution, we will be more of an evolution. And this is good. It means we do not have to deal with strange things as all games do not work on new hardware just because the core architecture is different. It also means that games should mostly be easily ported between PCs, PlayStation, and Xboxes. But if that is the case, what exactly is the selling point of the new consoles? Well, probably price to performance ratio. So far, it seems the new Xbox will be a smidge more powerful than the PlayStation 5, but without having both consoles in hand, that doesn't really mean anything. Until we get to see, hear, and mostly play the first games purposefully built for these consoles, games that fully utilize the capabilities, it is all just speculation. The Last Guardian, Limbo, Control. What is the common thread among these games? Seemingly not much. The first is an action-adventure game from Gen Design, a studio that previously made games exclusively for Sony consoles. Limbo is a puzzle platformer from Playdead that kept itself an independent studio. And Control is an action-adventure game from Remedy, who were really closely tied to Microsoft. But all three of these studios, and likely many more that weren't announced publicly yet, is now connected to Epic Games. Epic Games. This truly immortal gaming company that exists since the days of shareware, and that has made its mark in gaming with the Unreal Engine, and for the younger ones among you, Fortnite, has recently taken a different path. This path lies in the Epic Games Store, which is the newest attempt at changing the core paradigm of PC gaming digital distribution. And so far, it seems they are doing well. They launched their attack with exclusive games and even free games for anyone. So far, they are still in the red numbers, which means they are at a loss, but who knows? Maybe they will be the ones who will take the reins that are still held by Valve and its team for so long. Epic Games has thus entered the world of publishing games. Now Epic will no longer only develop, sell, and run its own games. They are also going to be publishing games for other developers. If they like the idea you came up with, they will literally pay for its development, testing, marketing, and sales. And not only on the Epic Games Store, also on Steam, on the PlayStation Network, on the Switch, everywhere. Right now, the way Epic is presenting this actually sounds pretty decent. Once the sale of the game pay for the development and marketing, then 50% of the profit goes to the creators of the game. If you know a bit about the industry, this may sound worse than the deal you get on Steam where Valve takes 30% of the profit. But remember, on Steam, you paid for the development, while on the Epic Store, you got paid to make the game. This is an awesome way for new game creators that have the ideas and skills, but do not have the money. But there is a catch to this. Epic, in exchange for publishing the game, will get the rights to your game. Everything sounds great now, but now Epic is just a new contender on the field of digital distribution. They want to grow and thus are promising the world to potential partners. But if they get big enough, things will likely change. More ways of monetizing your games will be forced into them. Less profits going to the creators. These and likely more things will change in the future as Epic will grow from mostly a game creating studio into almost exclusively a game publishing company. Here in Europe, you automatically have 14 days to return stuff you bought online but you figured out you do not want. Just send it back undamaged in the original packaging. Plus, again automatically, you have 1 or 2 years of warranty on the vast majority of goods, if they break without you causing it. But all that only works for physical goods. So, what do you do with digital goods that are broken or do not provide the functions claimed it would provide? Here we get on thin ice, especially when it comes to digital media. Yes, there is the obvious technical stuff, where the game might not even run or be so broken that it is literally unplayable. Here even digital warranty is probably an easy decision. But there are also the artsy parts of games. What if the game promised it would look amazing and you do not like it? What if the game promised amazing music and you find it disgusting? What if you are just bored with the game because you expected something different? That is a much harder egg to crack. Valve actually took a pretty decent road. Some years back, Valve introduced the option to return a game if you haven't played more than 2 hours of it and has been less than 14 days since you have bought it. And people seem to be okay with it. So Epic copied it. While especially small indie studios were initially afraid of this, as their games are very often short, the system seems to be working and very few people try to abuse it. But now, or precisely very recently, GOG.com came with an incredible 30 days no questions asked warranty. It doesn't matter whether you downloaded the game, whether you played it, or whether you even finished it. If you put in a request, you get your money back. All with just a plea from GOG that users please do not abuse it. This seriously turned heads. Developers, especially the independent ones again, who are often do publish on GOG, were and still are scared. And rightfully so. These developers weren't informed about this. GOG just one day came out and told the whole world. And what will gamers do in the situation when they can download a game that has no digital copyright protection and play it and just request their money back is a big question. Will gamers prove to be ethical and only do it when something is truly bad with the game? Or will they en masse just buy and return games? Only time will tell. So, that's it for today, guys. I hope you liked the essay, and if you do, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and be sure to share it with your friends. And comment if you have anything you would like to add. See you guys later with more gaming content.